Hi everyone, my name is Jonathan Black and welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about something that is quite difficult to get an answer to actually, and that is finding patients. A lovely person just the other day asked me, Jonathan, how do I find more patients? And the irony of course is that how do we find something when at the very time we need patients we simply do not have any whatsoever. Be that in personal circumstances or professional circumstances, finding patients can be incredibly difficult and personally very testing as well. This is especially the case when we see no good reason to be patient in the first place. Why should we be the ones to wait for an answer, to put a plan on hold, to shuffle our schedule around, or even to lose an opportunity because of someone else's inaction or mistake in one way or another? Just the other day I had a good example of that myself when I was on the phone to both an airline and a bank at the same time. It took 2 hours out of my day, and I can tell you by the end of the conversations I was getting very impatient myself. But it's a very good question to ask. How do we get patients when we don't have any? Well, thinking about this, there are 4 key things that to me kind of come to mind that may not answer every situation where we need some patience, but I think certainly they will help, and hopefully you'll get some value out of them as well. In particular, why we feel patient is because we can't control the things that we need to control. We have no longer any control over a planned venture or intention of some particular, in some particular way, shape or form. But we can also focus on the things that we can control. So for example, do we have all the information that we need to make sure that when a decision is being made, we're not even more frustrated by blaming ourselves for the little things we could have done to make the decision go easier? Do we have, for example, if we're on the phone, all the details about what took place, how it took place, the circumstances and so on? And I know it's very, very frustrating when we feel like we've got to repeat ourselves, or to an employee, or to a manager and so on, but sometimes we simply have to do that. What's even more frustrating is when we don't have the answers at our fingertips to the questions people are actually asking of us, and we realise that actually I could have done this better, and even though I'm quite impatient at the time and I'm not getting what I want, if I'd simply made a few different choices, I wouldn't be creating my own frustration on top of the frustration that others are creating for me. Number 2 is to practice patience. Practice patience. In a busy and fast-paced life, we're used to things happening when we want them and people being responsive. In doing that, we lose sight of the fact that that's actually a very modern phenomenon. Our bodies are not naturally patient. It's just that our mind has fooled us and society into thinking that having everything we want it straight away is a normal state of affairs. And in reality, it's actually not. Learn to breathe, learn to wait, and remind ourselves that working up our stress levels to an unacceptable level is not going to do us or our family or our intention any favour whatsoever. Practice patience, which means that when we need to find it, it's going to be easy for us to tap into that well of patience we have. Tip number 3 is always make sure you never schedule out your whole day. Now I've talked about this in time management / self-management before, but one of the reasons why the need to be patient gets to us is because we feel like we have no spare time, and it's true, we often don't. But we're responsible for that. We try and fill up everything in a day, which means the extra half an hour in a meeting or trying to explain something to someone, or the extra 45 minutes on the phone really gets to us because we simply haven't allowed time in our day. Spare time is not wasted time. It's time committed to ourselves, and that's still valuable time. The 4th and final tip I have is to be patient with yourself. How can you be expected to be patient with others? How can I expect to be patient with others if we're always rushing and feeling the pressure of what we happen to have on our plate? And I include myself in that as well. You simply can't. It just doesn't work. Give yourself a break, and therefore you'll find it easier to give others a break too, and they'll appreciate that more and do what they can for you. 4 key tips. Difficult topic about how we find patience when we don't have it, but hopefully that's worthwhile. You got something out of it. Thanks for listening.